Welcome to Specifically About Quality, the podcast by Qualitywise, where we explore the principles, practices, and challenges of modern quality management. We will discuss key concepts, share real-world examples, and bring clarity to the complexities of quality management. In each episode, we provide insights for quality managers and professionals, helping you lead with confidence, ensure compliance, and drive continuous improvement. This podcast is here to support your work and your impact. Clear, focused, practical. Let's get into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to Specifically About Quality. Together we explore how to build smarter, more effective quality management systems. I'm Agata Lewkowska, Automotive Quality Management Consultant.
And I'm Christopher Scott. We're here to share experience, insights, and to invite you to join this conversation. Please follow the podcast and share your comments. We value your feedback. It's what makes Specifically About Quality better with every episode. In this episode, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful yet often underutilized tools in any quality management system, the management review process. So why are management reviews often a missed opportunity, Agata?
I hope after this podcast episode, there won't be a missed opportunity. And at the very beginning, let me emphasize that this is our promise to everyone who listened to our podcast episode number 17, when we were talking about the new activities in QMS when there is a new year. So now let's jump into this topic. Management review is one of my favorite activity in quality management system, I must say. As I was working for many years as quality management system coordinator, this event was very important to me because it demonstrated leadership commitment to quality management system. It is nice to have such eminence grace in the organization, let's be frank, but at the end of the day, leadership must take responsibility and make decisions about quality management system direction. And the best direction setup is when it is aligned with the company strategy. Christopher, how many companies have you seen where management reviews are just tick-the-box meeting and thus a missed opportunity?
Far too many, and unfortunately have to say this. I've seen reviews done in a very short time, just as showing by the QMS coordinator what we do have documented information to present during the certification audit. No real strategy and no clear actions, no link to business performance. And that's a shame because a good management review can drive the entire quality management system forward.
Oh, this was well said. Management review can drive the entire quality management system forward. We get so many client questions like, what should we cover? Who should participate? How do we make it useful? So today we will answer those questions. If you're listening and have asked yourself the same, I think this episode is simply for you. So what is the real purpose of the management review, Chris?
Well, the general requirements in ISO 9001:2015, Section 9, specifically 3.1, if our listeners want to hear that, say that management reviews must evaluate the organization's quality management system for sustainability, adequacy, effectiveness, and alignment with strategic objectives. It's not just about meeting ISO 9001 or IATF 16949 requirements. The purpose is to step back, look at the entire system, and drive improvement and alignment with business goals.
Yes, and what I would add, reviews should be conducted at planned intervals. However, in IATF 16949 is saying that management review shall be conducted at least annually. But let's remember that also in the same point, this was 9311, it is said that the frequency of those management reviews can be increased or even shall be increased if we observe any risk to compliance with customer requirements, which can also result from internal or external changes which have the impact on our quality management system or performance issues. So let me show you the example. I worked once with the automotive client who turned management reviews into quarterly strategy sessions. What's more, I know the companies who do management review on monthly basis, of course, according to the previously defined scope. Because some of you already may think, wow, monthly? It's too much. But okay, the scope was defined before and this was not in full 100% the requirements covered every month. But in total, over the year, it was meeting the requirements. With such frequency, it is much easier to address topics in the real time. That's why I'm talking about this. But let's be honest, management review requires preparation. And this preparation is quite a challenge because there has to be many evidences collected from different, I would say, places in our quality management system. ISO 9001 and ITF 16949 are giving also a certain list of inputs and outputs from management review. So this should be for you also an indication what must be prepared. And a strong management review of all these inputs should help leadership teams understand, are we on track? Or maybe another question, are we meeting customer expectations? What risks are emerging? Where do we need to focus on improvement?
And don't forget about one IATF point related to outputs. Top management shall document and implement an action plan when customer performance targets are not met. And one big tip from us today, I would say, is that a good review should always look forward, set the direction, anticipate the risks, and align priority. So how do you structure an effective management review, Agata?
Well, as already mentioned, in ISO 9001 and ITF 16949, we have a certain list of inputs and outputs for management review. What I'm emphasizing when I train in ITF or future automotive auditors, treat those inputs and outputs in points 932 and 3 even as a mandatory list. Even one element cannot be skipped, otherwise you may get a nonconformity simply. So if we are talking about the inputs, this is really quite a big list of the things, but generally management review should tackle all of this and even more. So no wonder that there's so many, like performance data, customer satisfaction, internal, external audit results, process performance, what else? Nonconformities, risk opportunities for improvement, the performance from our suppliers even. So in other words, external providers. This is how it is called in ISO 9001. Adequacy of resources. ITF will say customer scorecards, cost of poor quality, warranty performance, maintenance objectives, and much more connected even to project management or potential field failures. Please go to these sections in ITF and ISO because there's really so many that probably I did not say by heart all of them. But also let's not forget about the outputs. And outputs are only 3 elements, so easy to understand because you need to evaluate opportunities for improvement, any need for change to the quality management system, and resource needs. And I will be honest now with you. When I'm auditing for Qualitywise customers, if I miss only one element, I'm giving a nonconformity because this is a red flag for the system that they did not focus on something. For instance, as the output, there was no resource needs evaluation. So the company got a nonconformity. Chris, am I too strict? What do you think?
No, I think that's fair enough because what people need to remember is the ISO 9001 certification or IATF 16949, they can only see what's available and visible. And if the organization doesn't present the evidence in real time, in reasonable timeframes, then it's fair enough for a major or a minor nonconformity. It is justifiable. So you might pass the audit the first time, but the second time you do the recertification audit, you could fail for the very same point you passed for. It is possible. It all depends on what you provide on the day. But I'd like to add not to forget about one IATF related point related to outputs. Top management shall document and implement an action plan when customer performance targets are not met. And another big tip to this would be a good review should always look forward, set direction, anticipate the different risks, and align the priorities. Moving on for this, I'd like to talk about who should participate in management reviews. I always say that if the review is only done by the quality manager or the QMS coordinator, you've missed the point.
Yes, absolutely. However, I was in the role of QMS coordinator and I really loved doing this activity. I could do for people involved in the quality management system, but this was not the point. Yes. So I, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know already, I need to agree with you. You want a cross-functional leadership team during this management review meetings. So definitely general manager, quality, operations, engineering, supply chain, HR, finance, or many other functions depending on your organization. But why? Because the quality performance depends on all of them. But there is also one very important group of the people who not necessarily could take part in management review. And these are process owners, especially if they are not treated as a top management. This could be completely different people. But in my opinion, process owners are also not to be forgotten while doing management review. Another example of this, what I've said, is that from my experiences in one organization, the laboratory supervisor was responsible for this area of laboratory and had a separate sub-process in the main process. Of course, in his sub-process, he knew everything very well, what is happening. So it was beneficial to invite this person for management review. So this can be also a hint for everyone who is listening to this podcast that not only official, functional managers who are also working as a process owners and actually are from the group of top management, but let's not forget about additional people who can have the input to our management review. You don't need to even invite them for the whole meeting, but at least for some specific sections when this is connected to their areas of responsibility. And do you agree, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. And that's a great point. So from my question I'll ask you is, Agata, what are the common mistakes to avoid? What would you say we need to avoid when we're looking at the management review?
The first, what I would say is actually something connected to the very beginning of this podcast, what you've said. What is the goal of management review? Let's not forget that management review must be performed to evaluate our quality management system for its suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness. So this is really important. The perfect evidence is that some organizations are performing in that manner their quality management review is even a summary if we meet all these three elements: suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness. Yes. What's more? Definitely, from my perspective, as a person who was participating in management review, I must tell you that a clear agenda for the meeting is really making this meeting quite effective, because this is a lot of requirements to go through. So agenda can be very helpful, especially if you invite different people who are not, as I said, top management representative. Another mistake is that we do not cover all inputs or outputs from the requirements. As I said before, treat these inputs and outputs as I don't want to say this word, but I will, a checklist, that you have everything prepared on this checklist to discuss during management review. And remember, even one cannot be missing. Or another similar to data, do we have too much data to present with no specific insight? We are losing time only. The data are not informative enough. Avoid this, okay? Another thing is, what I need to say is that we need to link this, what is happening in quality management system, to business goals. So it would be really beneficial to even refresh to the management team, what are our business goals? What else? Actions not tracked or completed, especially this which are coming from the previous management review, okay? They will be old, especially if at least annually we are doing our management review, but this is also one of the inputs. So probably you will not forget about this, because on the input list you will have these actions, but now we are talking that they need to be completed. And what I can also say, that if the management review is done once per year, at least annually, that is fine, because we have such requirement. But please keep this at least annually, so minimum every 12 months, okay? 13 months is exceeded annual management review, and it will not work out for your QMS, okay?
And I think another big one, just to add to that, is not using the review to manage risk as a part of a risk review. So a management review should always ask, what new risks are emerging and what controls do we need? So, Agata, how do we build continuous improvement into your reviews?
Actually, even this, what you've said about the risk, can also enhance this continuous improvement. So first, what I will say, don't forget about the risks. But please remember that a good review process evolves over time. So what I could recommend to embed into continuous improvement will not come probably tomorrow to you, but you need to work it out. First of all, use a consistent agenda, but update it yearly based on your system maturity. Okay, maybe it is needed to make it more frequently. What's more, include customer voice. You will have it probably because of the KPIs, mandatory KPIs, and customer satisfaction in quote mandatory in ITF. But also let's remember about audit results. Maybe even your customer did an audit in your organization, your facility. There are maybe non-conformities which you did not resolve. Maybe this is a moment to discuss why we are struggling with this still. What I could also say that definitely you need to do a follow-up on previous actions. This is what I've said as a mistake, but the point is now for this continuous improvement that if in a current management review, you will decide about many actions, please do not work with these actions just before the next management review in 1 year, but start just after this management review and track progress, communicate this progress, set up target date. And maybe the last thing is that this will be quite challenging advice, what I will tell you now. Maybe you could consider rotating facilitators. Don't let it always to be a quality job to facilitate management review. But this requires also a good competency, yes, of these people who would be a new facilitators. However, for major organizations, you can try to do this. Even around quality. You have quality manager, but you may have also a supplier quality manager, definitely a person who will be knowledgeable with quality. Just to consider.
Good idea. So I think also it can be adding things like lessons learned sections to each review. That will lead to faster corrective action closure and fewer repeated non-conformities.
Okay, Chris, now the question to you. What you would advise to our listeners about how to start strengthening your management reviews today, if they will be in the need to conduct management review next week or even tomorrow?
Well, if you're listening and thinking our reviews need improvement, hopefully you're thinking that because this is the point of the podcast. Start with these steps. Number 1 would be to define clear purpose and outcomes. Step 2 is to engage the right people in your organization. And the right people of all the people we've mentioned already in the podcast and other podcasts about cross-functional reviews. Focus on both performance and risk. As Agata said earlier, you need to consider the risk at all times, positively and negatively. Track and follow up actions. That's really important as step number 4. And number 5 would be keep the conversation strategic, not just numbers.
Of course, if you need help, we can support you. We offer management review coaching, facilitation workshop, and quality management system leadership training at Qualitywise. To help you to get started, we've prepared a free downloadable management review success checklist. You will find it in the show notes or at qualitywise.pl under resources.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, please follow specifically about quality, share it with your colleagues, and leave us a comment. We love hearing what's working for you. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into quality management. But in the meantime, if this episode was helpful, please like it, comment with your thoughts, and share it with your colleagues.
Thanks again for joining us. And until next time, keep building quality into everything you do. Thank you.